Security! Remove this vagrant from my hotel immediately! Manager Derek Hoffman's voice boomed across the Grand Meridian's marble lobby. Without warning, he grabbed Marcus Williams' messenger bag and hurled it across the polished floor. The leather bag skidded past shocked guests, spilling papers everywhere. Marcus Williams, 42, stood motionless in his simple jeans and white shirt. Every eye in the luxury lobby fixed on him as Derek pointed dramatically. "People like you disgust me," Derek snarled, loud enough for the gathering crowd. "You think you can waltz into a 5-star establishment? This isn't a homeless shelter." A guest's phone captured everything. Within seconds, a live stream began. Discrimination at Grand Meridian Hotel. Live. Marcus bent slowly to collect his scattered documents, his face calm despite the public humiliation. Derek smirked, crossing his arms in triumph. "Have you ever been humiliated so completely that everyone assumed the worst about who you are?" Security Officer Bradley rushed through the lobby's marble archway, his hand already reaching for his radio. Derek's theatrical voice carried across the room as more guests turned to stare. 15 years managing luxury hotels, Derek announced to his growing audience. "I know trouble when I see it." Marcus slowly gathered the last of his scattered papers, his movements deliberate and controlled. As he straightened, he pulled out his phone, showing Derek a reservation confirmation. "Presidential Suite. Confirmation number 7749-Delta. Derek barely glanced at the screen. Stolen phone. These people have sophisticated methods now. He turned to Officer Bradley. "Escort him out. He's trespassing." "Wait." Marcus reached into his jacket, producing a Platinum American Express Centurion card. The distinctive black metal caught the chandelier light. Derek snatched the card, examining it under the lobby's bright lights. "Could be fake. The homeless shelters teach them everything these days." He held it up for the gathering crowd to see. "Look how they try to deceive honest businesses." A woman in designer clothing nodded approvingly. "Good for you, Derek." "We can't be too careful." Marcus's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. The live stream notification flashed on nearby phones. Grand Meridian Drama. 2,341 viewers watching live. "Hotel policy," Derek declared, checking his gold Rolex. 10 minutes to verify legitimate business or immediate removal from the premises. He pointed to the digital clock above the concierge desk. 3:47 p.m. "Sir?" Officer Bradley shifted uncomfortably, studying Marcus's face. Something nagged at him, a sense of recognition he couldn't place. Derek wasn't finished. He walked a slow circle around Marcus, performing for his audience. "Look at this outfit. Jeans in a 5-star establishment. That bag probably cost $20 at a thrift store." "Actually," Marcus said quietly, "it's Italian leather. Handcrafted." "Oh, listen to this," Derek laughed, encouraging the crowd to join in. "Next, he'll tell us he owns a Ferrari." Several guests chuckled on cue. Marcus's phone buzzed. The caller ID read, "CFO Martinez, board meeting." He declined the call. "Probably his parole officer," Derek whispered loudly to a nearby guest, drawing more snickers. Another buzz. "Legal department," flashed across the screen. Again, Marcus ignored it. Derek was warming to his performance now. "Sir, what's your occupation?" he asked with mock politeness. "I work in hospitality," Marcus replied evenly. "Hospitality!" Derek clapped his hands once. "I'll bet you do." "Probably washing dishes somewhere." The crowd's laughter grew more confident. Officer Bradley noticed Marcus's calm breathing, his perfect posture, the way he commanded space without moving. "Mr. Hoffman," he said quietly, "maybe we should—" "10 minutes, Bradley. That's policy." Derek cut him off. "I won't let this establishment's reputation be tarnished." The live stream counter climbed. 4,892 viewers. Comments flooded the screen faster than anyone could read them. A guest blogger near the elevator frantically typed on her phone, "Live, shocking discrimination at Grand Meridian Hotel. The manager publicly humiliates black guest. Hashtag hotel discrimination trending locally." Marcus glanced at his phone again. A message from someone listed as GM Thompson flashed briefly. "Where are you?" "The board meeting starts in 20 minutes. Derek noticed the interaction. "Let me guess. Drug dealer checking in with you?" The crowd was larger now. At least 20 people formed a loose semicircle. Some filmed openly. Others pretended to read newspapers while watching the spectacle unfold. "You know what I think?" Derek's voice rose to ensure maximum coverage. "I think you're chasing this place. Planning some kind of robbery. That's why you're asking about our most expensive suite." Marcus's phone showed the hotel's Wi-Fi networks. One name stood out: Meridian Corp Executive Secure. His finger hovered over it, then moved away. 3:52 p.m. 5 minutes remaining. Officer Bradley's radio crackled. "Bradley, what's your status?" "Situation ongoing," he responded, his voice uncertain. Derek heard the exchange. "Tell them we need backup. This individual is becoming belligerent." "I haven't said anything threatening," Marcus observed calmly. "That's what they all say before they snap." Derek turned to address the crowd directly. "This is why we have security protocols, folks. To protect guests like yourselves from people like this." A young man in the back called out, "Just throw him out already!" Someone else shouted, "Call the cops!" The live stream exploded, 8,200 viewers and climbing. Local news outlets began picking up the feed. Derek's assistant manager, Jennifer Walsh, appeared at his shoulder. She'd been watching from the business center. "Derek, are you sure about this? His reservation does show confirmed payment." "Jennifer!" Derek snapped. "Don't let them fool you with their fake documentation." This is exactly how they operate. Marcus's messenger bag lay open beside him, revealing the corner of a thick manila folder. The visible portion showed elegant letterhead, but Derek was too focused on his performance to notice. 3:55 p.m. "Time's almost up," Derek announced triumphantly. "Either produce valid identification and proof of legitimate business, or Officer Bradley escorts you out." He crossed his arms, savoring his moment of absolute authority. The crowd pressed closer. Phone cameras captured every angle. The live stream chat scrolled too fast to read, filled with outrage, support, and demands for justice. Marcus looked down at his scattered belongings, then backed up at Derek's smug expression. For the first time since entering the hotel, a small smile played at the corner of his mouth. "There is something else you should know, Derek." Derek's smile widened at Marcus's words. "Oh, this should be good. Let me guess. You're actually a millionaire in disguise." The crowd chuckled on cue. Someone in the back yelled, "Yeah, right." Marcus remained silent, his eyes fixed on Derek's face with an intensity that made Officer Bradley shift uncomfortably. Assistant Manager Jennifer Walsh pushed through the gathering crowd. "Derek, what's going on here?" Her voice carried the authority of someone accustomed to handling crises. "Just removing an undesirable, Jennifer." Derek gestured dismissively toward Marcus. "He claims to have the presidential suite, but look at him. Does this look like our typical clientele?" Jennifer studied Marcus carefully. Something in his bearing, the way he held himself despite the public humiliation, struck her as unusual. "Sir, may I see your identification?" Derek intercepted before Marcus could respond. "Don't waste your time, Jennifer." "I've already determined he's a fraud. Probably homeless. Definitely dangerous." "Dangerous?" Marcus spoke for the first time in minutes, his voice carrying a quiet authority that cut through the lobby's chatter. "What exactly makes me dangerous, Derek?" "Your type always turns violent when cornered," Derek replied loudly. "Jennifer, Back me up here. We can't let our guard down. Jennifer hesitated. Her 15 years in hospitality management had taught her to read people, and nothing about Marcus suggested violence. If anything, his composure under such public abuse was remarkable. The live stream notification chimed again. 15,847 viewers watching live. The comments section had become a war zone of opinions. Officer Bradley's radio crackled. "Bradley, respond. We're getting calls about the situation." "Situation under control," Bradley replied, though his voice lacked conviction. Something about Marcus nagged at him, a familiarity he couldn't shake. Derek seized on the radio communication. "You see? Even the police are concerned about this individual." He turned to the crowd. "This is what happens when we let just anyone walk into luxury establishments." 3:57 p.m. flashed on the digital clock. 3 minutes remaining. Head of Security. Tom Morrison emerged from the elevator bank, his expression grave. Derek's face lit up. More authority figures meant more validation for his actions. "Tom!" "Perfect timing," Derek called out. "We need to escort this trespasser out immediately." Morrison surveyed the scene. The crowd, the phones recording, the scattered papers still on the floor. His 25 years in security had taught him that situations like this rarely ended well for anyone involved. "What seems to be the problem?" Morrison asked, his voice professionally neutral. Derek launched into his performance again. "Aggressive individuals attempting to gain access with fraudulent documentation, claim to have the presidential suite reservation. Obviously, a scam." Morrison's eyes found Marcus. "Sir, do you have identification?" Marcus reached slowly into his jacket. The crowd tensed, expecting drama. Instead, he produced a driver's license and handed it calmly to Morrison. "Marcus Williams," Morrison read aloud. The name triggered something in his memory recent emails, executive communications, something important he couldn't quite place. Derek snatched the license. "Could be fake. They have machines that make these now." He held it up to the light theatrically. "Look how convenient, clean record, professional photo. Too perfect." A woman in the crowd called out, "Just get rid of him already." Some of us have appointments. Others joined in. "This is taking too long." "Where's hotel security when you need them?" The pressure was building from all sides. Marcus stood at the center of it all, an island of calm in a sea of hostility. Morrison's radio buzzed. "Tom, this is GM Thompson. What's happening down there? Our phones are ringing off the hook." Derek stepped closer to Morrison's radio. "General Manager Thompson? This is Derek Hoffman. I'm handling a security situation involving a vagrant who—" Morrison held up his hand, cutting Derek off. "GM Thompson, the situation is complex. I may need to bring you down here." "She's in the executive boardroom," Derek interjected quickly. "Very important corporate meeting. Can't be disturbed. That's why I'm handling this personally." Marcus's phone buzzed again. This time, he didn't decline the call. "I need to take this," he said quietly. "Absolutely not." Derek lunged forward, trying to grab the phone. "No calls to your accomplices." Officer Bradley finally stepped between them. "Sir, step back. Let the man answer his phone." Marcus nodded gratefully at Bradley and answered. "Yes, I'm still in the building." "There's been a complication." Derek strained to hear the conversation, but Marcus spoke too quietly. The crowd pressed closer, sensing a climax approaching. "Who was that?" Derek demanded when Marcus hung up. "Someone who's very interested in how this situation resolves," Marcus replied cryptically. The live stream counter hit 23,000 viewers. Number Grand Meridian drama is trending nationally now. News outlets were picking up the story. The hotel's social media accounts were being flooded with comments. Morrison's radio exploded with chatter. "Tom, we've got reporters calling. Corporate wants a statement. The PR department is freaking out." Derek's confidence flickered for the first time. Reporters? Sir, Morrison addressed Marcus directly. I apologize for this situation. Perhaps we could resolve this more quietly? Derek panicked. His moment of authority was slipping away. Tom, don't let him manipulate you. This is exactly what they do. They create a scene, get sympathy, then sue the hotel. The crowd began to murmur uncertainly. Some were filming Derek now instead of Marcus, sensing the shift in dynamics. 3:59 p.m. Time's up, Derek announced desperately. Officer Bradley, remove this individual from the premises immediately. Bradley looked between Derek and Marcus, then at Morrison. The security chief shrugged. It was Derek's call as duty manager. Sir, Bradley said reluctantly to Marcus, I'm going to have to ask you to... Wait! Marcus's voice carried absolute authority now. Every person in the lobby stopped moving. There is something you all need to understand about this situation. Derek sensed danger. Don't listen to him. He's going to spin some sob story. Marcus reached down to his messenger bag, the same bag Derek had thrown across the floor 20 minutes earlier. His fingers found the manila folder that had been partially visible throughout the confrontation. You want to know who I really am, Derek? The question hung in the air like a blade. The live stream chat went silent for the first time since the incident began. Even the hotel's background music seemed to fade away. Derek's face drained of color. Something in Marcus's tone, in the way he commanded the space around him, finally registered as genuinely threatening to Derek's authority. Morrison stepped forward, his hand moving instinctively toward his radio. Officer Bradley positioned himself for a clear view of both men. Jennifer Walsh held her breath. The crowd leaned in. 23,000 viewers watched through their screens, and Marcus Williams smiled for the second time since entering the Grand Meridian Hotel. Marcus opened the manila folder with deliberate precision. The thick document bore an elegant letterhead that made Morrison's eyes widen instantly. Meridian Hotel Group, Board of Directors. The folder's contents spilled across the marble floor where Derek had thrown Marcus's belongings 25 minutes earlier. Financial reports, executive memos, acquisition proposals, all marked confidential, board members only. Derek stared at the papers, his brain refusing to process what he was seeing. Marcus reached into his jacket and placed a business card on the concierge desk. The embossed letters caught the chandelier light. Marcus Williams, chairman of the board, Meridian Hotel Group. The lobby fell into absolute silence for 15 full seconds. Morrison's face went white as recognition flooded through him. Oh my God, Mr. Williams? Derek's hands began to shake violently. That can't be real. Those are fake documents. Anyone can print business cards these days. Marcus pulled out his phone and opened the hotel's internal system. His executive access code unlocked every operational dashboard, occupancy rates, revenue reports, staff schedules, security protocols. The screen displayed his photo next to Chairman Marcus Williams. Would you like to verify my identity through our corporate database, Derek? Marcus's voice remained perfectly calm. Or should I call our chief legal officer directly? The live stream comments exploded in real time. Holy shit, he owns the hotel! Derek is completely screwed! This is the best justice ever! I'm crying with joy! Jennifer Walsh stumbled backward, recognizing Marcus from corporate communications she'd received just last week. The quarterly board meeting photos, the new diversity initiatives announcement, the chairman's personal memo about customer service excellence. Sir, I am so deeply sorry, Morrison whispered, his 25-year career flashing before his eyes. I didn't recognize you without your suit. I mean, I wasn't expecting you to be here unannounced. You weren't expecting the chairman of the board to dress casually, Marcus asked. To travel without an entourage? To walk through his own hotel like an ordinary customer? Derek's voice cracked like a teenager's. I was protecting hotel standards. The way you were dressed. I couldn't have possibly known who you were. Couldn't have known what, Derek? Marcus stepped closer, his presence suddenly filling the space around him. That a black man in jeans might own the building you work in? That someone without a three-piece suit might have more authority than you'll ever possess? Behind the crowd, a guest whispered loudly enough for everyone to hear. I saw his picture in the business journal last month. He's worth like $50 million. Derek was hyperventilating now, his chest rising and falling rapidly. I didn't know! How could I possibly know? You looked exactly like... Like what, Derek? Marcus's question hung in the air like a guillotine blade. The crowd that had enthusiastically cheered Derek's performance 20 minutes earlier now backed away from him as if he had a contagious disease. Phones that had recorded Marcus's humiliation now captured Derek's complete psychological breakdown in high definition. Jennifer Walsh found her voice, though it shook. Mr. Williams, as assistant manager, I take full responsibility for not intervening sooner. This behavior is completely unacceptable and against everything our company stands for. Yes, it is. Marcus gathered his scattered papers methodically, each movement deliberate and controlled. Jennifer, how long have you worked for this company? 8 years, sir. 8 years, and you stood by while your duty manager publicly humiliated a customer based purely on his appearance. Marcus's tone remained conversational, which somehow made it more terrifying. What does that tell me about the culture Derek has created here? Morrison's radio buzzed frantically. Tom, where are you? GM Thompson is asking for an immediate update. Corporate headquarters is calling. The PR department is in crisis mode. We need answers. Marcus reached over and calmly took Morrison's radio from his belt. This is Marcus Williams. Tell GM Thompson the chairman is handling the situation personally and will brief her shortly. The voice on the other end went completely silent for several seconds, then stammered, Mr. Williams? Sir, we had absolutely no idea you were in the building. GM Thompson is on her way down immediately. Derek finally found the courage to speak, though his voice was barely above a whisper. Mr. Williams, I've been with this company for 3 years. My performance record is spotless. I was just following standard security protocols. Security protocols? Marcus opened his phone and pulled up the employee handbook on the screen. Section 3.7, Customer Service Standards. Quote, every guest shall be treated with dignity and respect regardless of appearance, attire, or perceived social status. Did you follow that protocol, Derek? That is, the situation seemed suspicious. Section 4.2, Discrimination Policy. Quote, any employee who engages in discriminatory behavior based on race, appearance, or perceived social status faces immediate termination. Were you aware of this policy when you called me a vagrant? Derek's mouth moved soundlessly, like a fish gasping for air. Marcus continued reading from his phone. Section 5.1, Management Authority. Quote, managers must exercise judgment based on verifiable facts, not personal assumptions or prejudices. Derek, what verifiable facts did you use to determine I was a criminal? Officer Bradley stepped forward. Mr. Williams, I deeply apologize for my role in this situation. I should have insisted on proper verification procedures instead of allowing the escalation. The live stream counter showed 38,000 viewers and climbing rapidly. News outlets were interrupting regular programming. Hotel chairman discriminated against at his own property was trending nationally across all social media platforms. Marcus's phone rang insistently. The caller ID showed mayor's office. Then another call. Channel 7 breaking news. Another, NAACP Legal Defense Fund. Another, Washington Post business desk. He declined them all, his attention focused entirely on Derek, who was now visibly sweating despite the lobby's air conditioning. You want to know the most interesting part of this entire situation? Marcus asked conversationally, as if discussing the weather. I wasn't supposed to be here today. I was flying back from a hospitality conference in Chicago and decided to stop by unannounced to see how our customer service really operates when corporate management isn't watching. Derek swayed on his feet like he might faint. I got exactly what I came for, Derek. A perfect, unfiltered demonstration of how you treat customers when you think no one important is watching. General Manager Patricia Thompson burst through the elevator doors, her face flushed from running. She took in the scene. Scattered papers, 40-plus guests recording everything, Derek trembling like a leaf, and Marcus Williams, the chairman of the board, standing calmly in the center of it all. "Mr. Williams," she breathed, her voice catching in her throat. "I had absolutely no idea you were here. If I had known you were coming today. If you had known Patricia, Derek would have treated me completely differently. That's exactly the problem." Marcus gestured toward the crowd of phones still recording. 57,000 people are watching this live stream right now. They've seen how your duty manager treats customers when he thinks no one important is looking. Thompson's face went completely pale as she processed the implications. Her 20-year career flashed before her eyes. 57,000? Marcus opened his laptop, the same one Derek had mocked as probably stolen from some office building, and connected it to the lobby's digital display system. Within seconds, the hotel's financial dashboard projected onto the wall-mounted monitor in stark black and white numbers. Grand Meridian Hotel grossed $47.3 million in revenue last fiscal year, Marcus announced, his voice carrying to every corner of the marble lobby. This single location represents 8.2% of Meridian Group's total revenue stream across our 127 properties in 23 states and 4 countries. Derek stared at the screen, his mouth hanging open as he finally understood the magnitude of what he'd done to his career. "Derek, your annual salary is $67,000, Marcus continued with surgical precision. "The legal liability you've created in the past 30 minutes, conservative estimate from our legal department, $2.3 million in potential discrimination lawsuit exposure." The live stream comments scrolled so fast they became a blur. "He's breaking down the numbers like a boss. Derek is financially destroyed. This is better than any Netflix series. Justice with spreadsheets." Marcus clicked to the next slide, revealing federal compliance data. Civil Rights Act violations carry mandatory $50,000 federal fines per documented incident. We currently have multiple video recordings from different angles, plus this live stream with 57,000 live witnesses providing real-time documentation. Thompson stepped forward desperately, her hands visibly shaking. "Mr. Williams, surely we can handle this situation internally without involving federal agencies." "Internally?" Marcus's voice remained perfectly calm, but something genuinely dangerous flickered in his dark eyes. "Patricia, this incident has been trending nationally on every major social media platform for the past 25 minutes. Our corporate stock price has dropped 0.4% since the live stream began viral. That represents approximately $15.2 million in shareholder value evaporated." He clicked to reveal real-time social media analytics covering the entire wall display. # Grand Meridian Drama currently has 127,000 mentions across all platforms in the past hour. Our hotel's Yelp rating has dropped from 4.6 stars to 2.8 stars, with 312 new negative reviews posted in real time. TripAdvisor reviews are flooding in, none of them remotely positive. Derek finally found his voice, though it came out as barely a whisper. "Mr. Williams, I've never had a single discrimination complaint filed against me personally in 3 years. My performance record is completely clean. This was just an unfortunate misunderstanding." "A misunderstanding?" Marcus's eyebrows raised slightly. "Derek, let me show you something particularly interesting." The display is filled with detailed customer complaint data from the past 18 months, organized in neat columns and rows. 63 discrimination allegations against this specific hotel location in the last year and a half. 63 separate incidents, Derek. 47 occurred during your shifts as duty manager. 16 more happened when you were the senior manager on duty. The number hung in the air like a death sentence. Thompson's mouth fell completely open, her face draining of all color. Marcus began reading directly from the complaint database. Quote from complaint number 14. Manager questioned my reservation validity 3 times and demanded additional forms of ID that white guests weren't required to provide. Quote from complaint number 28. Was told I might be more comfortable at a different establishment that better suited my demographic. Quote from complaint number 35. Manager suggested my credit card might be fraudulent before running it through the system. Derek was shaking his head frantically, his hands waving in desperate denial. Those were all completely legitimate security concerns based on established hotel protocols. Were they really? Marcus's finger hovered over his phone menacingly. Should I call our chief legal officer right now? Ask her to personally review the security camera footage for each of these 63 incidents? The lobby has grown to over 80 people now. Hotel guests had completely abandoned their evening plans to watch this corporate showdown unfold in real time. The live stream counter showed 64,000 viewers and climbing rapidly. Let me explain the precise legal reality of your current situation, Derek. Marcus's voice took on the authoritative tone of a law professor lecturing a particularly dense student. Under federal civil rights legislation, establishing a documented pattern of discriminatory behavior transforms this from simple wrongful termination into a serious civil rights violation with criminal implications. He clicked on a new slide displaying actual legal statute citations in bold font. Title II of the Civil Rights Act, Section 2000A. All persons shall be entitled to the full and equal enjoyment of goods, services, facilities, privileges, advantages, and accommodations of any place of public accommodation without discrimination or segregation on grounds of race, color, religion, or national origin. Derek was openly sobbing now, tears streaming down his cheeks as the crushing weight of his legal situation became crystal clear. Marcus turned his attention to Thompson, his gaze steady and unforgiving. Patricia, as general manager, you bear direct responsibility for ensuring strict compliance with these federal civil rights mandates. How do you personally explain 63 discrimination complaints going completely unaddressed under your management? We thoroughly investigated each complaint through our standard procedures. Did you really? Marcus pulled up Thompson's internal email responses, displaying them on the wall-mounted screen for everyone to read. Here's your official response to complaint number 23. Customer appears oversensitive to standard security procedures. No action required. Complaint number 31. No credible evidence of discriminatory intent found. Complaint number 45. Manager was following clearly established protocols. Case closed. Thompson's face burned with humiliation as her own dismissive words appeared in 36-point font on the lobby wall. You personally dismissed every single complaint without conducting proper investigations, Marcus continued relentlessly. You systematically enabled Derek's discriminatory behavior through willful administrative negligence. Officer Bradley stepped forward, removing his cap entirely and holding it against his chest. Mr. Williams, I accept full responsibility for my role in escalating this situation inappropriately. I should have insisted on proper verification procedures from the very beginning instead of following hotel management's lead. Officer Bradley, you followed the directions of hotel management. That reaction is completely understandable under the circumstances. Marcus's tone softened slightly toward the officer. But your situation perfectly illustrates the systemic problem we're dealing with. When discrimination becomes normalized within an organization, even professional law enforcement personnel get inadvertently drawn into perpetuating these harmful patterns. The live stream had attracted serious national media attention. Marcus's phone displayed a growing list of missed calls from major news organizations. CNN, Breaking News, Desk. NBC, Nightly News, Producer. Associated Press, National Bureau, New York Times Business Section, USA Today. Civil Rights Correspondent, Washington Post, Metropolitan Desk, local news stations across 15 states. "Derek, I'm going to present you with exactly 2 choices," Marcus announced, his voice carrying absolute corporate authority throughout the marble lobby. Choice number 1, submit your formal resignation immediately. Accept basic severance compensation according to company policy. Sign a comprehensive non-disclosure agreement. Leave these premises quietly and never return. Derek nodded eagerly, grasping at this potential lifeline. "Yes, sir. I'll resign immediately. Right now." "I wasn't completely finished explaining your options." Marcus's tone stopped Derek cold mid-sentence. "Choice number 2. Face immediate termination for cause with 0 severance. To deal with the federal discrimination lawsuit, my legal team will be filing Monday morning at 9 a.m. sharp. Spend the next several years explaining to potential future employers why you've been permanently blacklisted from the entire hospitality industry." The silence stretched for a full 45 seconds while Derek processed his impossible situation. "You have exactly 5 minutes to make your final decision." Derek wiped his tear-streaked face with his sleeve, his voice barely a whisper. "Mr. Williams, I choose option 1. I resign effective immediately." Smart choice. Marcus closed his laptop with a decisive snap. "Patricia, clear his desk within the hour. Security escort to ensure he removes only personal belongings. Derek Hoffman is permanently banned from all 127 Meridian Group properties worldwide." The live stream comments exploded in celebration. Justice finally served. He got exactly what he deserved. Best karma video of all time. This is how you handle discrimination. Derek gathered his few personal belongings under Morrison's watchful supervision, his 15-year hospitality career effectively terminated. As he walked toward the employee exit, several guests openly filmed his departure, documenting the consequences of institutional racism in real time. The lobby's marble floors echoed with his footsteps as he disappeared through the staff entrance for the final time. Marcus turned his attention to the remaining staff, his expression shifting from prosecutorial to constructive. "Patricia, Jennifer, Officer Bradley, Tom, what happened here today cannot happen again. Not at this hotel, not at any Meridian property, not anywhere in our industry." Thompson found her voice, though it shook with uncertainty and remorse. "Mr. Williams, what can we do to ensure this never happens again? I'm committed to whatever it takes." "I'm glad you asked that question, Patricia." Marcus reopened his laptop, connecting once more to the lobby's display system. "Effective immediately, we're implementing comprehensive systemic reforms across all 127 Meridian Group properties." A detailed presentation filled the wall-mounted screen. "Meridian Group Anti-Discrimination Initiative, Comprehensive Reform Plan." "First, Welcome Protocol 2.0, Marcus announced to the crowd of 70-plus guests still recording every word. "Every single staff member will undergo 40 hours of unconscious bias certification training within the next 60 days. No exceptions for management, no exceptions for part-time employees, no exceptions for anyone." The live stream audience, now exceeding 72,000 viewers, watched intently as Marcus outlined each reform measure with military precision. "Our customer service scripts are being completely rewritten by diversity consultants from the Southern Poverty Law Center. Every guest interaction will be standardized to eliminate subjective judgment calls based on appearance, accent, or assumptions about economic status." Thompson nodded vigorously, frantically taking notes on her phone. "Yes, sir, we'll implement it immediately. Second, technology solutions that eliminate human bias." Marcus clicked to the next slide showing a sleek mobile app interface. "Meridian Connect, our new guest recognition system. Every staff member receives a tablet connected to our central reservation database. Guest photos, preferences, VIP status, loyalty program details, special requests, all accessible within seconds of check-in. Jennifer Walsh stepped forward, her voice gaining confidence. Mr. Williams, this technology would have prevented today's situation entirely by providing immediate guest verification. Exactly the point, Jennifer. Marcus's tone warmed slightly toward her acknowledgement. But technology alone isn't sufficient. We are also implementing mystery shopper programs' quarterly discrimination testing conducted by independent civil rights organizations who will pose as guests. The display showed detailed statistics from successful pilot programs at other major hotel chains. Third, real accountability measures with teeth. Marcus's voice hardened again as he outlined enforcement mechanisms. Anonymous reporting system for staff members who witness discriminatory behavior. Mandatory reporting requirements for management. 3-strike policy for discrimination complaints. 3 verified incidents result in immediate termination with no appeals process. Officer Bradley raised his hand tentatively. Mr. Williams, what about law enforcement interactions? How do we prevent similar situations involving police? Excellent question, Officer Bradley. Marcus clicked to reveal a comprehensive law enforcement protocol. All police interactions must be audio and video recorded. Hotel staff cannot request law enforcement intervention without documented evidence of actual criminal behavior, not assumptions based on appearance, race, or clothing choices. The reforms continued cascading across the screen in detailed implementation phases. Monthly diversity metrics reporting directly to our board of directors. Customer satisfaction surveys specifically addressing discrimination concerns. Community advisory board including local NAACP representatives, religious leaders, civil rights attorneys, and community activists. Thompson was frantically typing notes into her phone. Mr. Williams, what about financial investment in these programs? We want to ensure proper funding. Marcus smiled genuinely for the first time since Derek's resignation. Patricia, I'm personally allocating $3.2 million annually across our entire property network for anti-discrimination initiatives. This specific location receives $400,000 immediately for full implementation. The live stream chat erupted with approval and amazement. He's putting his money where his mouth is. Real change with real financial investment. $3.2 million annually. He's completely serious. This is how billionaires should use their wealth. Staff sensitivity training budget, $150,000 per year for ongoing education. Community outreach programs, $100,000 annually for local partnerships. Diversity consulting contracts, $75,000 for ongoing professional guidance. Guest services technology upgrades, $75,000 for initial system implementation. Marcus clicked to display partnership agreements with major civil rights organizations. We're partnering with the Anti-Defamation League for comprehensive training curricula development. The NAACP Legal Defense Fund will conduct quarterly compliance audits. The Southern Poverty Law Center provides ongoing consultation services for policy development. Jennifer Walsh raised her hand confidently. Sir, how do we measure success? What are the specific benchmarks? Quantifiable metrics, Jennifer. I appreciate your focus on accountability. A new slide displayed specific performance indicators. Discrimination complaints must drop below 5 per year across all properties. Customer satisfaction scores from minority guests must match or exceed overall averages. Staff retention rates in diversity training programs must maintain above 95%. The presentation continued with detailed implementation timelines and milestone markers. Training begins Monday morning at 8 a.m. sharp. All department heads attend a 3-day intensive workshop this week. Front desk staff, security personnel, housekeeping, food service, maintenance, everyone participates. No employee exemptions under any circumstances. Marcus turned to address the crowd directly, his voice carrying to every corner of the marble lobby. But the most important change isn't policy or technology. It's a fundamental cultural transformation. He clicked to a slide showing the hotel's newly drafted mission statement. Meridian Group Commitment. Every person who enters our establishments will be treated with dignity, respect, and equality, regardless of race, appearance, background, accent, clothing, or assumptions about their economic status. Thompson stepped forward with visible determination. Mr. Williams, I want to personally commit to leading this transformation. I failed today by allowing this culture to develop under my watch, but I won't fail again. Patricia, this is your opportunity to demonstrate real leadership. Marcus's tone remained measured but hopeful. Cultural change requires accountability from the top down and courage to confront uncomfortable truths. The live stream audience was now actively sharing the video across multiple social media platforms. Number Meridian reforms began trending alongside Number Grand Meridian drama, with supportive comments flooding in. One final crucial element, Marcus announced: public accountability and complete transparency. We're publishing monthly discrimination reports on our corporate website, complete transparency complaint numbers, resolution details, staff training progress, customer satisfaction data, financial investments. He clicked to show the website mock-up already under development by their IT department. Every Meridian property will display prominent QR codes linking directly to our discrimination reporting portal. Guests can file complaints in real time, track resolution progress, and access our complete reform implementation data. Officer Bradley stepped forward with genuine conviction. Mr. Williams, I'd like to volunteer for your community advisory board. What happened today taught me important lessons about implicit bias in law enforcement interactions. Officer Bradley, your willingness to acknowledge and learn from mistakes is exactly the attitude we need for real progress. Marcus shook his hand firmly. You're absolutely welcome to participate. Morrison cleared his throat respectfully. Sir, as head of security, I commit to implementing these protocols immediately. Today's incident will never happen again under my watch, I guarantee it. The lobby crowd had grown to nearly 100 people, many applauding spontaneously as each reform measure was announced. Marcus looked directly into the camera phones, recording his every word. This transformation isn't just about Meridian Group. Every business in America should examine their practices honestly. Ask yourselves, how do you treat customers when you think no one important is watching? The live stream counter showed 83,000 viewers across multiple platforms as Marcus closed his presentation. Real change requires more than apologies. It demands systemic reform, financial investment, ongoing accountability, and cultural transformation from the ground up. Jennifer Walsh stepped forward with newfound determination. Mr. Williams, I formally request an assignment to lead our implementation team. I want to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. Marcus studied her carefully, weighing her sincerity against her earlier complicity. Jennifer, leadership requires courage to challenge discrimination when you witness it, even when it's uncomfortable. Are you prepared for that level of responsibility? Yes, sir, completely prepared. Then you're promoted to interim general manager while Patricia undergoes intensive management training at our corporate headquarters. Marcus's decision rippled through the lobby crowd. Your first assignment: ensure every single employee understands that discrimination has no place in our organization. The lobby erupted in spontaneous applause. Thompson nodded approvingly, recognizing Jennifer's potential for positive leadership and her own need for additional training. Marcus closed his presentation and surveyed the transformed lobby. Where 40 minutes earlier stood a crowd eager to watch humiliation unfold, now gathered 100 witnesses to systematic institutional change. 6 months later, the transformation. Marcus Williams's story exploded across social media, accumulating 4.7 million views within the first week. Speaking engagement requests poured in from hospitality industry conferences, business schools, and civil rights organizations nationwide. The Grand Meridian Hotel became a case study taught at Harvard Business School, Stanford Graduate School of Business, and hospitality management programs across the country. The Williams incident entered corporate training curricula as the gold standard for handling discrimination through systematic reform rather than punitive measures. More importantly, the changes worked. Discrimination complaints across all Meridian properties dropped from 347 annually to just 12. Customer satisfaction scores from minority guests increased 34% within 6 months. Employee retention rates in diversity training programs maintained 97%, exceeding Marcus's ambitious targets. Jennifer Walsh proved herself an exceptional leader. Under her management, the Grand Meridian's customer service ratings reached industry-leading levels. She implemented weekly staff meetings specifically addressing bias recognition, creating a culture where employees felt empowered to challenge discriminatory behavior immediately. The Meridian Connect app became industry-standard technology, licensed to competing hotel chains seeking to eliminate discrimination. Mystery shopper programs expanded beyond hospitality into retail, restaurants, and financial services. Officer Bradley joined the Community Advisory Board and became a powerful advocate for police bias training programs. His first-hand experience witnessing discrimination helped law enforcement agencies understand how implicit bias affects interactions with minority communities. Derek Hoffman's story served as a cautionary tale throughout the hospitality industry. His inability to find employment after the incident demonstrated concrete consequences for discriminatory behavior, creating powerful deterrent effects for other managers. The ripple effect. Marcus's approach combining individual accountability with systemic institutional change sparked a movement beyond hospitality. Retail chains implemented similar protocols. Restaurant groups adopted bias training requirements. Financial institutions created discrimination reporting portals. Number hotel accountability evolved into number business accountability, with consumers demanding transparency about discrimination practices across all service industries. Companies began publishing annual diversity reports, not from legal requirements but from competitive pressure. The Southern Poverty Law Center reported a 23% decrease in discrimination complaints against service industries in states where Marcus's reforms were widely adopted. The NAACP Legal Defense Fund credited his model with preventing millions of dollars in discrimination lawsuit costs through proactive reform. Personal legacy. Marcus Williams received the NAACP's highest honor for business leadership. The Anti-Defamation League presented him with their Corporate Leadership Award. Harvard Business Review featured him on their cover with the headline, "Quiet Power: How Dignity Defeats Discrimination." But Marcus measured success differently. By the thousands of customers who now experienced respectful treatment at businesses across America. By the employees empowered to challenge bias without fear of retaliation. By the young people who watched his story and learned that quiet strength could move mountains. The broader message. Marcus's story proved that real power lies not in revenge, but in creating lasting institutional change. His response demonstrated how individual dignity, combined with systemic accountability, could transform entire industries. The incident revealed uncomfortable truths about assumptions based on appearance, but it also showcased humanity's capacity for growth and reform. Derek's failure became Jennifer's opportunity. Thompson's oversight became comprehensive training. Morrison's uncertainty became confident leadership. Most importantly, Marcus showed that those with power have responsibility to use it constructively. His $3.2 million investment in anti-discrimination initiatives created returns measured not in profits, but in human dignity. Call to action. Marcus Williams' story resonates because discrimination exists everywhere. Hotels, restaurants, retail stores, banks, hospitals. It thrives in the shadows of assumption and unconscious bias. Have you witnessed discrimination in businesses? Have you been treated differently based on your appearance? Share your story in the comments below. Your experience matters. Every story shared increases awareness. Every person who speaks up makes discrimination harder to ignore. Every business owner who watches this video has the power to examine their own practices and implement change. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs to see how quiet dignity can triumph over prejudice. Subscribe to our Black Stories for more accounts of resilience, justice, and the power of standing up with grace under pressure. Together, we can create a world where everyone receives the respect they deserve, regardless of how they look or where they come from. Marcus Williams showed us the way. Now it's our turn to follow his example.